Hey friends, it's Dwight. Welcome back to my channel. I also go by the name of Dwight Pours. And yeah, today we're going to do a pour on a 24 by 30 canvas. Now, when I show you the canvas, once I have the paints mixed, you're probably going to cringe because I'm pouring over an old pour. I'm basically doing test pours. And this canvas is my test canvas. Now, the reason it's my test canvas is because there was a hole or a little slit in part of my canvas around the corner. So I just taped it on the underside of it so that I can practice and paint with it, but I wouldn't use that for an actual painting that I would sell, just as an FYI. So I'm going to be using reds today. I have some friends that are interested possibly in a commission, and I haven't really messed around with reds in a while. So I was looking at color combinations, and I found a color combination I'm really happy with. It's a red, a dark red, a brown, a white, and a beige or a cream. So I've got the colors, and I'm going to mix them up in a few minutes, and we are going to do a pour. I'm going to use my colander today, so we will do that and not my strainer. Okay, guys, hold on. I will show you my paints in just a moment. But before we start, I want to remind you, and I'm hoping you're watching this because I get a lot of questions, even if I talk about my consistencies and talk about how I pour my paints or how I mix my paints. All the colors that I use, like the ones that I pour into the colander or the strainer, are mixed the same way. It's mostly Floetrol and a little bit, 1 or 2 ounces of paint and water and Liquitex pouring medium. Now, on larger canvases, I use a 24-ounce cup, so that's a pretty big cup. And again, it's mostly Floetrol, water, and Liquitex pouring medium, and 1 to 2 ounces of black paint. That's all. Nothing elaborate. No satin enamel, no silicone, no nothing. Just as a reminder that thinned paints will sell. Some brands sell more than others. So today I'm going to primarily be using Americana brand paints, Deco Arts. Also Dazzling Metallics. I think I have some Dazzling Metallics mixed in there as well. So that's what I'm going to be using today. They are the go-to for me. They do create beautiful pearls and cells, and the reaction is wonderful. Okay, so hold on, and I will set things up and I will mix the paints and we'll go through it. Okay, we're back here at the canvas. There's my previous pour. Had a few issues. It wasn't too bad, but some of that red and blue turned to purple, and that wasn't what I was going for. Just trying a different color combination. So today, these are the paints I'm using and the brands, just so you have an idea if you wanted to try to use some of these colors. Down here on the end, that's Artist Loft Soft Body White. That's my standard go-to sort of separation between different layers. You know, just out of the bottle, titanium white. Using these reddish colors, I want to avoid pink. So I'm going to try to pair these 3 up together and then put the red up against the brown. So this sort of cream color is Liquitex Basics, unbleached titanium white. Now, I said I was going to do all Deco Art brands, but I couldn't get the right color by sort of mixing my own, so I just used some of this and added a little bit of Rich Espresso from Deco Art Americana Dazzling Metallics to just slightly darken it. Now this is Cinnamon Stick. This is like a deep burgundy, and this is True Red. And I added a little bit of raw sienna in there just to tone it down a little bit. Then of course there's my black, Artist Loft Soft Body Black. And yeah, so we're gonna use the colander, like I said a few moments ago. I'm not quite sure of the order, but what I'm thinking is starting with some white, play a little bit of this cream, some brown, maybe red, then burgundy, brown, cream, white, something like that. So I will think about that as I double check these consistencies and get ready for the pour. Well guys, to start with here, the canvas that I was gonna pour on, I couldn't get it level, so I don't know if it got warped during the drying process of the previous pour. So I'm gonna work on this 24 by 24 canvas, which means I need to scale down all my mixed paints there to about 4 ounces each, if not slightly more. So I'm gonna probably just use half a cup of each color. And what I'm probably gonna do today is use my strainer since it's smaller, and it'll leave, give an opportunity for more of the paint to move around. The hard part is trying to figure out how much of that black paint to use. That's 24 ounces. I'm thinking I'm gonna use about 12 ounces or so. So I'm gonna use a 16-ounce cup, and I'm not gonna fill it all the way up, and we will just go from there and see what happens. Okay, here we are back at the canvas. The corners and edges have been painted. Little hello. Just want to make sure that paint is completely smoothed out before I get started here. So again, I'm using my strainer today since it's a smaller canvas. Now, since my colors are sort of on the dark side, I wanted to start with using white and that cream color, and then building from there with the brown, and then the deep burgundy, and then the red on top of that. So I was trying to be very careful not to create pink, because that can happen if you're using white with red. So I wanted to make sure there was a separation. I used brown again. I poured the white on top of the brown, and then using more of that cream color. And again, just layering these colors one after the other, just taking into consideration how I stack the colors so that I don't create that pinkish hue. Now you might hear the crows in the background. They come to visit me every morning. I'm sitting outside drinking my coffee. So with the black paint, I had it mixed again for a large canvas. So in this case, I just put it in a 16-ounce cup and poured about, I'd say 10 to 12 ounces of black paint. And in this case, I also poured in the opposite direction that I typically pour. But first I did a little bit of a swirl, then over the edge, and then finally over the last edge there. So yeah, the colors were coming through. You know, this is always the moment of truth. I'm not always sure exactly how things are going to come into play, but it was filling in. I was pretty happy, especially around all edges. I wasn't quite sure on the upper left corner at first, only because that was where I ended up dumping off most of my paints. And so I wasn't sure if I would still capture some of the rest of the color. But it's looking good. I put it on time lapse and you can see it sort of explode. And there we have it. And in just a moment we will do the wet walkthrough, and then we'll check and see how it dried after that. Hey guys, here we are. I'm back in my studio. I let this sit for pretty long. I kind of forgot about it. I was outside enjoying the pool. I know, don't be jealous. But then it started raining and thundering and lightning, so it's time to come in. So yeah, this looks more like it has orange in it than actually red. But that's okay. That's pretty cool. So I'm thankful that I have this ring and this ring. I was afraid it was going to be pretty monochromatic based on how it was looking as it started to form. As you can see, the edge is dry. I don't think anything's going to move much anymore. I think it's pretty done. We'll see what happens in the negative space. I love that I have a burst of red. And, you know, some of those pearls may need to be trimmed just to kind of make them a little bit more round. I'm hoping, I don't know if you can see these dots. There are a couple of dots. Sometimes they show up at the last minute, so we'll see what happens. So I have not done one this size in years. This is a 24 by 24 inch canvas. We'll see how it dries, and I will definitely be back with you to show you the end and final results. So hold on, just a few seconds, we will wrap this up. Okay guys, I'm heading to my studio. There's my cat Cassius, hey buddy. And there's Max. So we're gonna go into my studio, which is also my office. We're gonna look at the overnight dried results here. I'm not completely finished with this painting. I have a few touch-ups to do, but I like the way it looks. It's got a lot of depth, a lot of dimension. And I will show you sort of up close and why it's really kind of cool looking. You see the white and the cream, how things played and intermixed. So I will, you know, I'll play with the negative space just a little bit. I probably will not do a time lapse because I'm not gonna do a whole lot, which I'm sure you'll be happy about that. But just want to show you up close. Remember, I don't use satin enamel or silicone. These are naturally forming cells. That happens when you thin your paints. Okay, hold on. I'll show you the dried results and then we are done. Okay, here we are, the final results. I did little touch-ups. I did not touch any of the pearls. I just let them be as they are. I didn't want to mess with it too much. But I'm really happy with it. I think it turned out great. I think the colors are vibrant, sort of getting me in the mood for fall. So I'm going to use these same colors, but I'm going to be doing a 30 by 40, if you can believe it or not. And I'm gonna have to add some gold, I think, just a little extra of a lighter color. But guys, thanks for watching, and yeah, we'll see you really soon, and I hope you have a great, great week.